Oh, balls. No, hold on. That was uncomfortable. Hi everybody, welcome back to Amber Unabridged. I'm Amber, and I have a bit of a overall catch-up video. I'm going to go over the books that I read in January that I have not already talked about in a reading update video. I'm going to talk about my reading plans for February and puzzle prompt updates. So I think, yeah. So general catch-up video, talking about books, talking about reading plans, having a good time. So this isn't a full January wrap-up. I did do a bit of an update already that I posted. I will link that video down below. After that video, I finished Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This book was fantastic. Drama. It was drama. And I highly recommend it. This will also fulfill one of my puzzle prompts for my novels. Let me get to that page here. So this is counting as read a favorite author. Jane Austen is one of my favorite authors. So, boom, done. I've marked it off in my reading journal. This one. So, yeah. Next book that I finished was Did I Ever Tell You This by Sam Neill. It's a memoir, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I highly recommend it. I listened to the audiobook. I have it on Audible, and honestly, I really only know him from the Jurassic movies, the Jurassic Park movies specifically. I did watch Jurassic World Dominion, but we don't need to talk about that. But I listened to the memoir just because I really love memoirs. I love hearing people share what they think is important about their lives, and it was delightful and fantastic, and I enjoyed it. And I'm just probably going to keep saying the same couple of words over and over again. Woo. Next book that I finished is Japanese Gardens by... I can never remember the... Oh, I've got it right here. By Gita K. Mehta. There's a whole cover for this, but I didn't put it back on because I'm going to be lending this to somebody very soon, and when I lend out hardcovers, I don't put the dust jackets on. So, yeah, this was incredible. It was really interesting to see the different kinds of Japanese gardens, how the style changed throughout the years, and what various people found to be important to display, and why. A lot of it has to do with Buddhism. It was really insightful, and I really enjoyed reading it. Next book I finished was People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami. If you've been on my channel a bit, then you probably saw my short story Sunday videos going over some of the stories in this collection. It doesn't so much feel as a collection of individual, isolated short stories as much as little bits that you can read at a time to tell you to give you an overall picture of this neighborhood. In the first story, I wasn't sure if it was magical realism, some sort of speculative fiction, or if it was just a very creative narrator, maybe an unreliable one. But upon finishing the collection, I want to say about 2/3 into this book, I felt very strongly that it was speculative fiction because things got weird. I really enjoyed it though. It was really great just how strange things got and how that was just normal. There's a story about a gravity notice, kind of like you get a tornado warning This one was about, oh, well, we're gonna not have gravity, everybody hold on to something. And that's just normal. It's just fine. It was really interesting. That said, even though I don't feel like it's a collection of short stories individually, they are still short stories that aren't necessarily connected to each other, aside from the fact that they sort of build an overall picture over the course of reading them all. And it is still listed as short stories. Can you see it? No? Maybe? It's listed as short stories. So, loved that collection. 5 stars. Mansfield Park and Did I Ever Tell You This were also 5 stars. Japanese Gardens was 4 stars. I'm really bad at sharing that. So, yeah, fantastic. Really good stuff. The next book that I finished in January is called Pirates. This one was written by Katrina Clark. I read this at my brother and sister-in-law's place when, before my nephew went to bed. It was his bedtime, and we read it together, and it was really interesting because it wasn't so much a story as it was just facts about pirates. It is meant for young readers, maybe 10 years old, and the information was very blunt. But anyway, I think it would be really great if there was somebody who was maybe 10, 11, 12, maybe not 12, maybe 10 or 11, looking to write a research project or something. They could easily use this book as a resource for that. And I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. It was fun. The last book I finished in January was Before We Say Goodbye by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the 4th book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, which I started reading back in, it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. So, I really like the series. It's definitely a specific vibe. It's very, very slow going. The information gets repeated quite a lot, but I love time travel and cafes and Japanese literature. So, what can I say? So yeah, so those are the books that I read in January, or the second half of January, I should say. Overall, I read 12 books in January. Eventually, I'm going to have better ideas of my stats for reading. I did get, Sam gifted me a reading spreadsheet from Allie at Hardback Hoarder, who put together this very elaborate reading tracker spreadsheet, which has tons of data and graphs. But I just got that, and I have to still fill in a lot of the information for what I've read already. So that will be forthcoming in the future, but right now I read 12 books. I own 3 of them physically and 2 of them as audiobooks. And then I read 4 other physical books and 3 other audiobooks. So honestly, not too bad. I did get to work on reading more physical books, which is a big goal of mine. More books that I own, which is a big goal of mine. And I finished one of the books that I was hoping to finish this year that I brought in from 2023. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of, let's talk about February. My main goal is to read this, is to finish reading this. I'm about this far. I have read this much. And I want to finish this month. I'm not going to let myself get overwhelmed. I specifically set a shorter reading goal for overall books this year so that I could focus on finishing some of my heftier works. And I've got some chonkers, this one and Les Mis. So this is going to be priority for this month. I figure it's Black History Month. I want to read a book by one of my favorite Black authors, N.K. Jemisin. She is so amazing at world building, and her storytelling is just fantastic. Even though it's massive, it's so easy to get into. And I figured out how many pages I need to read per day to finish this by the end of the month, and so far I've kept up with that. Granted, it's only the 3rd, and I haven't read today's section yet, but you know, whatever. We will get there. Another specific book that I'm hoping to finish this month is Finna, a collection of poems by Nate Marshall. This I picked up from the library, if you watched my previous reading update video. And so I'm hoping to finish that this month. It shouldn't take me very long. Next book that I'm hoping to work on is Tales for a Rainy Night. This is a collection of the 14th Mystery Writers of America anthology. Yeah, I couldn't decide what I wanted to read for my short story collection for the month. And so Sam over at Sarcasm and Sci-Fi, she's also my co-host for the Drunken Library, I was like, I don't know what to read. She's like, well, send me pictures, I'll pick one. So this is what she picked based on the spine alone, and yeah, it should be good. This is an old anthology from 1961, so it will be really interesting to see what they valued in the writing at that time. So that'll be cool. And then the physical, and then the nonfiction that I'm working on this month is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. I am going to be switching between the physical and the audio for this one. I own both, just because it's also a bit hefty, and I think that will make it easier for me to be sure to complete it by the end of the month. But I have had this for a while, and I really want to know what it has to say. So far, the introduction, fantastic. I would recommend it as a means of opening a discussion with anyone who doesn't claim to be racist, but is clearly not anti-racist, because it does discuss the differences in here without blame, but with just facts. So I'm really excited to read more of that. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Because I'm chaos, we're going to do this all out of order. So, puzzle prompts. I have successfully managed to do one off of each of my lists, so I'm really excited for that. So for my novel puzzle prompts, I decided to use Mansfield Park to mark off the read a favorite author prompt. So that will be forthcoming. I'm hoping to begin working on the puzzles, and I'm hoping to include a video of me working on the puzzle pieces, since I do like to incorporate a lot of my artistic endeavors on this channel as well. I thought that that would be a really good blend, except that it wasn't my idea at all. It was Sam's, and I am absolutely doing it because it's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So the book for my nonfiction is The Japanese Gardens, and that is to read a book you've owned 5+ years. I've owned that since I worked at Barnes & Noble when I was a teenager. So I was 19 when I started working there, and I worked there until I was 21, and so that was 12 to 15 years ago. We'll have to talk about it. And my short story puzzle prompt, I'm going to use The People from My Neighborhood, and that is to read a collection you've owned less than 5 years. So that was a gift from Sam that she gave me right at the beginning of the year, because that's when it arrived. So that is going to count for that one. And then for the ebook and audiobook prompts, I'm using The Triumph of Seeds as the listen to a nonfiction audiobook, and I am also going to use the Sam Neill memoir as the audiobook narrated by the author. I'm not confident that I will be able to draw his face, but I'm certainly going to try. So, yeah. In addition to that, I did read quite a few short stories, because there were a lot in the People from My Neighborhood collection. I'm not going to have enough space in the pages that I delegated for short stories in my reading journal here, but that's okay. I am a creative and I can figure some shit out. That, or I'll just put part 2 later in the journal. I'm thinking about doing a little bookmark with a little short story label, like dangling from the paperclip, not a bookmark, paperclip. And I think I'm going to use that to mark where I am for marking short stories, because I think it'll be really cute and helpful, because I'm going to need it. So, yeah, I filled this page. It's all, like, one, like, this list is this list. It's just, like, the information goes straight across the page. And then on to the next page as well. I did start this off by putting the collection right after the information about the number of short stories for the list for the year, the date, whether I own it or not, where I read it from, how many pages the short story was, the star rating, and then I put collection before the title and author. I realize that that is very difficult for me to follow the line all the way across. So on the next page I swapped them so that it would be title and author here by all the other stuff, and then the collection that it's from, which is how I used to do it, but it just felt cramped and I thought it would work better the other way, but it didn't. But, you know, you live, you learn, you switch it up, and it's all good. So that's what we're doing there. So yeah, I'm reading at least one novel, one short story collection, one nonfiction, and Finna from the library. And then I also really want to try to read more of the library books that I got. I renewed them. It would be great if I could read more of them, because they're all interesting. But I specifically really need to get to Queer There and Everywhere so that I can record a video to submit to the Literary Gladiators channel. And it does seem interesting. I want to read all the books from the library. It's just, who has the time? That's my reading update. I'll keep you all posted. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.